Welcome to the Carousel Software Orientation video. This will give you an overview of how to use your Carousel system to publish content. If you would like a more comprehensive training, you will want to check out Carousel Academy, which will go into much more detail on the topics we will discuss here, as well as many other topics that we won't go over in this orientation. Before we get started, let's go over some important vocabulary that will be used in this training. The most important terms are understanding the difference between channels, zones, and bulletins. A channel is everything that you see up on your display when it's turned on. All of the content you see here is displayed on a channel. This channel is broken up into smaller areas called zones. And zones are individual areas that you can put your content on. And that content that you put in these zones are called bulletins. Bulletins can be many different things, from text to pictures to videos. This will be the actual visual elements that you will put on the display for all to see. Looking at it from another view, you have a channel on your display, which is made up of one or more zones, and each of these zones are made up of one or more bulletins. Now that you have an understanding of a channel, zone, and bulletin, let's head to Carousel and get started. The first step of working in Carousel is to log into the system. You should be sent an invitation email, which will have a link to your Carousel account. Here, you can set your password and then log into the system for the first time. If your organization uses single sign-on, then they should send you a link to your Carousel login page where you can click on the big login button to gain access to your account. Those who need to enter a username and password will click on this orange text. Here, you can enter your email address as a username and the password you created as your password. If you ever forget your password, simply click on the Forgot Password link at the bottom. Now that you're logged in, you must first navigate to the correct zone before adding or editing any bulletins and content in Carousel. To do this, click on the orange zone selector. As you can see, a drop-down menu will appear. The first column allows you to choose the type of bulletin you want to work with. Regular bulletins are those that play within a zone on a channel. Full screen alerts will override your entire channel and be the only thing that's shown on the display. They'll take up the entire screen. On the right side of the menu are all of the zones available to you. By clicking on any one of these zones, it will take you to that zone where you can begin to add and edit your bulletins. The middle of the screen contains tag words that you will set for each zone, which helps you identify them by channel or function. If you have many zones and or channels, this helps reduce the number that are visible in the right column, so you can more easily locate them. The zone selector will always be visible when you're in the zones area, so you can easily move between zones. Now that we have found the zone we would like to add content to, let's click the New Bulletin button on the screen. You can now see your 3 options for creating bulletins on the left side. We'll start by making a quick template bulletin, which is an easy way to publish content that keeps with the theme of your channel. Select the template of your choice, and then it will take you to the bulletin editor. Along the top, you will see tabs for the steps available in the bulletin creation process. Since we've already chosen a template as our layout, the first screen that we see is the content screen. Just go down the line and edit each of the available areas to customize this template. Whenever you see this little icon, it means we can add a media item for this element. For this second one, let's choose an image for this bulletin. This will open a screen which allows us to choose an image for this bulletin either by choosing from the available images shown here, or we can upload one from our computer, either by clicking on the Browse text or dragging and dropping an image file into the gray area. Now that you have customized the content, you can decide whether you want to change the layout of this bulletin. Clicking on the Layout tab will give you the opportunity to change the way the bulletin content looks. We'll go over this more in the Academy training, but notice how each item, which we call a block, has many options for editing. There are 2 more tabs to edit, which are Schedule and Extras. Scheduling allows you to choose when you would like this bulletin displaying on your channel. If we do not change anything on the screen, this bulletin will play with the other active bulletins in our zone indefinitely. This first option chooses whether the bulletin is always available, and leaving it as yes means it will just keep playing without an end date in the zone, along with all the other active bulletins. If we change this to no, it will give us options to schedule when we want it to be visible. If it's a bulletin that should be shown sometime in the future, we will change the start date to when it should start. If you want it to end at some point in the future, you can change the end date and time. This feature allows you to set these dates and times all at once, so you don't have to remember to come back to Carousel later and take down old bulletins or publish bulletins at some point in the future. You also have the option to change which days this bulletin will be shown by checking and unchecking days. And finally, you can select a start and end time each day if you want this bulletin only to be visible for portions of the day. We will go over the Extras tab in the Academy training, but know that if you change nothing on this tab, your bulletin will run just perfectly normal. Click Publish, and your bulletin is ready to go. Going back to the new bulletin screen for this zone, you also have the option to bring in either an image or a video as a bulletin that you created outside Carousel. Clicking on Uploaded will give you the option of browsing or dragging and dropping an image or video file. Once you bring it in, you have the option to schedule it and change the extras. One important thing to note on uploading is that the file you bring in will stretch to fit the dimensions of the zone, so make sure you're bringing in content that's the right size and shape for the zone you're putting it in. And finally, let's go back to the new bulletin screen one last time. Clicking on Dynamic allows you to pull information from other sources, such as the internet, a server, or your computer, and display it on a bulletin. Once created, the dynamic bulletin continuously updates itself without you having to do anything, so your audience can have current information available. Selecting any option from the right will take you to the bulletin editor for that dynamic type, where you will be able to fill in the fields and get your content displaying. In the Carousel Academy training, we'll go through every step of each one of these dynamic bulletins to ensure you can publish dynamic content of all types. Now that we have published some bulletins, we can head over to the Manage area of the zone to see them. Buttons along the top will let you filter the active bulletins, which are currently playing in this zone, unapproved, which are waiting for an administrator's approval, upcoming, which will play at some point in the future, and expired, which are no longer playing. You can search bulletins, perform various actions on them, and even click and drag them around to have them play in a different order. We'll go over all these steps in the Academy. If you'd like to see these bulletins playing and don't want to head to one of our displays, you can preview them right from your computer. Click on the User menu, which will be your username next to the gear at the top right of the screen. This will take you to the Configure area. Now, click on Channels, and then click on the View button next to the channel's name that you would like to see. A new tab will appear that allows you to view what this channel looks like for your audience on the display. Note that there are certain things you won't see on your computer preview screen, such as video, animation, live streams, and crawls. These items that are in motion are only viewable on the actual displays, so you'll need to walk out to one of your displays to check if they're showing correctly. You can leave this preview tab up whenever you're adding or editing content in Carousel to make sure it's displaying correctly, assuming you have them scheduled to play right away. Another thing you can view in the channels area is your zone sizes. Click on the Edit button for the channel you'd like to see, and then click on any one of the zones on the left. Here, at the bottom, it will show you the dimensions in pixels for this zone. This will be helpful when you are uploading bulletins, as we discussed earlier. Now that we've covered the basics of bulletin creation and zone navigation, I want to quickly mention Carousel Academy, which I spoke of along the way. This great resource will give you in-depth online training of every function of Carousel. Short, guided videos can be paused, rewound, and watched over and over until you master the concept. You can even watch them on one device, like a tablet or smartphone, while you are in Carousel on your computer doing the tasks. This gives you the ability to pick the videos you want to watch and learn exactly what you need to know for your system. Discussion forums and email addresses for trainers are included in each course, as well as simulations and downloadable documents. Each user at your organization can get their own account, which will remember where they left off, track their progress, and give them the tools they need to be successful. Ask your sales representative or visit the Carousel website to purchase this invaluable training. Thank you for watching the Carousel orientation and enjoy using your Carousel digital signage.